And bend up the knees. I need my book. Bending up your knees and place your hands on your belly. Support your head if your chin is jutty, if it pulls away from the chest rather than softening towards it so that the back of the neck does not get congested. So being the first week of the month still, we are focusing on our legs, hamstrings in particular in this practice. But the legs are the roots of our tree, and grounded, strong legs promotes ease for everything above. The breath that supports the first chakra, the leg energy, is the diaphragmatic breathing. So just gently begin to invite the breath into your lower abdomen, which of course in anatomy means that you're actually using your diaphragm to breathe. So the belly will expand and relax as you breathe in and out. And as you breathe in, the diaphragm moves down. Also let there be a sense of the breath moving down into your pelvis, moving into your legs. It's gentle and easy, no big event. So staying grounded right now can be a tall order on some days. One of the mudras we can use for groundedness is Earth Mudra. And this is simply taking the thumbs to the ring finger, with the other fingers extending out. And being, I was going to say Earth Day, we went by that. It is Mother's Day on Sunday, but I do think of that Mother Earth as everybody's mother. And fun fact here, in Danish, the word for midwife is literally Earth Mother. And so we are all born from the Earth Mother. So we tap into this energy of being grounded, solid, and strong. And when we practice mudras, just simply holding the shape changes the energy as it flows in our bodies. If you don't like the way a mudra feels, simply release it. The right way is the way that is right for you. We'll take 3 more breaths. And after the 3rd breath, just gently relax your hands, stretching out the fingers. Just relax the arms alongside. So with the knees bent up, we have one of the functions of the hamstrings, which is to flex the knee joint. The other one is extending the hip. So that's pretty straight on, pretty easy going right there. So let's take the right knee in, taking the right knee in. And just do a couple of straighten and bending your right leg. And just get a sense of what your hamstring it feels like as you straighten the knee. And then bend the leg, take your thumbs in behind the calf, start it behind the knee and just work your way down, working your way down. Massaging, pulling, tugging at the fascia behind the calf. So we've done the foot massage in the other classes this week, so you can revisit with those for the complete footwork. Now we're also going to flip the hands to go behind the thigh. Again, start behind the knee, and you can feel there are two stringy thingies on each side of your knee, and those are your hamstring tendons. We got two going to the inner knee, the tibia, the big one, and then one to the fibula, outer knee. So it's well balanced. Now again, walk your fingers all the way down. And again, just create a little bit more movement behind the thigh. The fascia gets stuck to the muscles. And that will also impede our mobility. So working down, working your way back up. Once you come back up, just bend and straighten the knee again and see if that gave you a little bit more ease of movement. Let's do that on the other side. Now we'll take the left leg in, let the knee first soften down towards the chest. We'll take the hip crease, soften that a little bit so the hip flexors relax. And then we'll just go for a couple of test strokes here, straightening and bending. And once we have assessed what it feels like behind the thigh today, let's do the same fascial release on the left leg. So you just use your thumbs as you work your way in, sort of pinching, squeezing, massaging, all of the above, getting in deep, walking down, walking back up. And once you're back up, switch. So now your thumbs are going to be on the front with your fingers digging in behind the knee. And then you walk your way down towards your bum. And as you go all the way close to the sits bones, this is where your hamstring attach. We walk our way back up again, back up again. And then once back up, let's see if that created maybe a little bit more ease in mobility. We'll place that foot back down. And then we'll take the right knee in again. This time we're going to go without the hands. So just draw the right knee in, straighten the leg towards the sky. And this may be lower down for you. But we're just going to use muscular effort of bringing the leg in. So not pulling or tucking on the hands, keeping your back neutral so you're not pressing the back into the mat. Your back stays neutral. This is pure hip flexion. It's like, all right, I got that. Let's check out the left side. Draw the knee in first, straightening the leg. And then again, just invite the leg. And every time we come onto the mat, we not only are on a date with ourselves, but we're really studying how this marvel of machinery that we're inhabiting, of levers, pulleys, moving everything. So you're just drawing the foot in. Notice when you begin to flatten the back, so move at a range, gently going back and forth without barring from the back. Let's switch back to the right side. We'll take the knee in again. Take the leg up. Neutral back, relax shoulders. I'm going to take the leg to the floor. Heel just graces down to the floor, and then I'll take it all the way up. What I'm just going to do, go back and forth, going up and down. So I'm going a little bit faster, a little bit more dynamic. So just putting a little bit of gentle heat in there. Let's do one more. Then I'm going to place the foot down. Let's take the left knee in, straighten the leg, And again, take the heel to the floor and up. That's back and forth. Don't be aggressive. Let go of judgment, let go of expectations and competition. Just be curious. Be curious and have a joyful heart. But of course, that's what the whole practice is about. Appreciation. All right, I think that was about the same number. So now let's place the feet back down again on the mat. Flexion. So flexion of the knee, we bend the knee, job number one. The second job is hip extension. So here, pressing the heels down, lift the hips, so our little bird's pose. So that takes the hamstrings through pretty much the entire range of movement. They facilitate a little bit of knee rotation, but it's very minor. These two are the main, so just lifting up. And as you lift up and lower down, really sense the hamstring. Now press the heels down and lifting up. And now that might put a little bit more fire into them. The other body part that helps us with hip extension, I bet you're already shouting out loud coming up, and you will notice, are of course the glutes. So now let's just stay up for a few breaths and enjoy the sensation of hamstrings and glutes cooperating, creating hip extension. But we all need, at least I know I do, I sit down more right now than what I normally do. And slowly releasing all the way down. Now let's roll over onto the belly. And as you come onto the belly, let's bring the forearms onto the mat, one hand on top of the other. Tuck the toes under. And let the forehead just rest on your hands. Little detail. So tuck the toes under. Just press the heels back. Press the heels back. So now we're in a little bit of a hip extension. And then inhale, press the hands down. Lift the heart. Lift the heart. Just lengthen the belly button forward, creating a little bit more hip extension. Now relax the tops of the feet onto the floor. Tops of the feet are now on the floor. And really ground through the hips, And as you do so, notice the lightness of the hands. Will the arms float up towards the head? Floating up. Press the hips down and lower all the way down. So that's challenging. I know. But it's a good pondering. So let's do it again. We inhale, we lift the heart. Neutral neck, neutral neck. So here in this wide elbow sphinx pose, if the legs are completely passive, a lot of weight in the arms. But now, as we press the hips down, notice the lightness in the arms, hips are pressing down. There's also lightness in the legs, so lifting up the legs, lift the legs, lift the legs. So now the hamstrings are doing one of their jobs, extending the hip. And we lower back down again. We should do that one more time. Hip extension. Ground down through the hips. Lift the legs, lift the legs. What about the arms? Will they float up again? Floating up again. And release all the way down. All the way down. Now let's take the hands beside the side chest. And draw the shoulder blades down the back and together. down the back and together. Legs long, hips drawing down. And then inhale, lifting up into cobra pose, cobra pose. Lower all the way down. Let's lift the hands. Lifting the hands, forehead is down. Draw the shoulder blades together. Lifting the head, lifting the heart. Lifting the legs. Lift the legs. And plant the hands. Lifting up, cobra, and maybe upward facing dog. Upward facing dog or cobra. And we draw back, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Bending the knees and straighten the legs. Bending and straighten. Bending and straighten. And on the next in-breath, look up and walk the feet towards the hands, hands towards the feet. Inhale, looking up. Take the hands to the hips, soften the knees slightly, and we're going to press all the way up. Pressing all the way up. So far, so good. So a little bit of heat in these practices now, because again, the stamina that we're all trying to preserve. My mailman is here, Gus is on. It's a big party every time somebody comes to the door. I don't know about your house. We'll stand in mountain pose and getting the weight into the heels, weight into the heels. At the same time, let's draw through the sternum, lengthening up through the sternum. So there's a sense of these two energies moving in our body. It is the groundedness of our legs that allows us to create this elongation, release upward. Let's draw the fingers to the floor, drawing the fingers to the floor. And then inhale, tall mountain, tall mountain. Elongating up. And then exhale, dig the heels down a little bit and draw the hips back. Draw the hips back into Utkatasana. So a sense of a sliding back. So there's like a sense of half a bridge pose in the back of the legs with the heels kind of sliding back. We're going to inhale, stand back up again. And we're going to take the hands down. So that sense of the heels sliding back, and we did it last week too, it's that sense of you got something sticky under your feet. So just do, if you do a little sliding up the foot, can you feel your hamstring firing? So that's the action that we're looking to generate a little bit of turning on. So with that, soften the knees a little bit. Notice how there's an easier way to access the pushback. And we'll hinge forward, hinge forward. Keep the knees soft as you hinge forward, allowing for that hip crease and fold. We'll take the hands back. Take the hands back. So this is a half forward fold without arms today. Can you sense the hamstrings are kind of on right now? I'm going to take that as a collective nod. Let's take the arms forward, arms forward. That's a long lever, and you may choose to keep them back instead. Bend the knees, and we're back in Utkatasana. Chair pose. Can you keep them on? And then exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. We're going to step back to downward facing dog. Again. And then inhale, take the knees down. So what's nice to do, and we've done it all week too, is a little warm up for the hands. So walking your hands around, this is great, especially if we spend a lot of time on the computer. As you walk your hands around, as far back as they will go. Now bend the elbows, bend the elbows. And the closer your fingers are to your knees, the less weight you have on the hands. So be kind as you bend the elbows, maybe lift the heel of the hand up, and you're going to get a little bit more of a stretch through the fingers. Now, if you have Dupuytren syndrome, be cautious with this. You don't want to overstrain or overstretch your wrists. If you don't know what Dupuytren is, you don't have it. I say that very firmly. It's the tightness, the calcification of the palm of the hands. Now let's go in the other direction. Go in the other direction. How far can we go? It's a little interesting. So as you come with the fingers turn all the way around, I'm just going to do a little circling here. So taking my wrist through, interesting range of movement. Let's go in the other direction. And then I'm going to walk my hands back. I guess somebody else is coming to the door. Now with the hands again under the shoulders, let's take the finger, pointing the palms up, pointing the palms up. Fingers are pointing towards one another. I'm going to go for a walk again here. How far can I go? Oh, that's a little bit more intense for me, maybe not for you. And I go in the other direction. Back to where we started. And place the hands again on the mat. If it bothers your wrist to have your hands right under your shoulders, just move them forward slightly. It's a little shorter or a little less acute angle of the wrist. Now in a tabletop, let your sternum draw towards the floor so the shoulder blades move together. And then lifting up. And just go back and forth. Sinking. That is retracting of the shoulder. Shoulder blades squeeze together. And lifting. Shoulder blades are spreading apart. Back and forth. Can you sense the squeeze together? Can you sense the spreading? Now as you come into spreading, holding the spreading, and then here, let's stretch the right leg back, stretching the right leg back. We'll take the left back to meet it for plank pose. Now you may take your knees down for modified plank or full plank, modified or full. Drag the hands and feet isometrically towards one another. Isometrically. And it gets really interesting. Now exhale, downward facing dog again. Downward facing dog. Looking up on the in-breath. And as you exhale, stepping the left foot up between the hands. And we'll take the right knee down. Take the right knee down. Draw the knee forward. Draw the left knee forward. That lengthens the right knee, the right hip flexors. And now we're going to go back. Slide the left hip back a little bit for the proposal lunge. And you can place a blanket under your knee here, because it may be a little intense. Proposal lunge, hip over knee. Hip over knee. Inhale, let's take the arms up. Lifting up, so you're finding maybe a little bit of a quad stretch the front of the thigh. Keep drawing the tailbone towards the floor as you extend up. Tailbone towards the floor as you extend up. So now we have the hamstring doing both ends, if you will, a little hip extension, not much, and knee flexion. So let's take the hands down again, wiggle the foot forward, sinking down again, and now bend the leg, bend the back knee, both actions again. And you're gonna feel a little bit of a squeeze behind the knee. Let's do that again. Lifting, lowering. One more time. This one we're gonna hold, 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 squeezing the leg in, squeeze the leg in, squeeze the back of the knee, and release the foot down. Tuck the back toes under. We're gonna step up to the front of the mat, stepping up to the front of the mat. Inhaling, half forward fold. Take your hands to the shins. Take the hands to the shins. So very much like what we did before. Lengthen the crown of the head away from your sits bones, away from the tailbones. And then exhale, we plant the hands again. And now let's step be the left leg back. Let's take the knee down. So again, we're in a low lunge, and I'm just gonna lunge forward, letting my left hip flexor opening up. Left hip flexor. And now I'm ready to draw back to the proposal lunge. Fold the feet in, foot it a little bit. Stacking hip over knee. Hip over knee. And then inhale, we'll take the arms up. Tailbone, earthbound, hands for the heavens. Lengthening up. So again, can you sense that the hamstring is assisting in the posterior tilt, in the drawing down of the tailbone? Also, that's another way of saying hip extension. So if the hamstrings are super tight, we're always in a little bit of an extension. Let's take the hands down, but not a workable extension. Walk the right foot forward again. And then bend. And straighten. Bend. And straighten. And we're going to hold this one. Pull the leg in. Draw the leg in. Squeeze the back of the thigh. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And release. Let's draw back to downward facing dog or puppy pose. Or puppy pose. Step the feet close together. And then bend the knees, bend the knees. Draw the hips high. So we are hanging out with our hip crease. Take the hip flexors out of it. Lifting the hips. And then just ponder. Drawing the heels towards the floor. Maybe the knees will straighten. Maybe not yet. That's all right. We inhale forward to plank pose. Inhaling forward to plank pose. Protracting, so push the floor away. Let the knees come down. Release the tops of the feet. Lengthen the heart forward and up, and then reverse cobra all the way down. Place the hands beside the chest. Tailbone towards the heels, hips pressing down. And then inhale, lifting. Hands, heart, head, and legs. Lifting up. Flying serpent pose. Breathing. We plant the hands. We inhale through cobra and maybe into upward facing dog again. To downward facing dog. Pause. Pause. And then as you inhale next, we're going to step the left foot up between the hands again. So now the back leg is in full hip extension. Walking the hands up to the left knee. Now as you inhale, lift up through the heart. Pull the abdomen in and up. Let your right hip, right glute show up. And then maybe pull the right heel further back for more hip extension. Strong right glute work, helping out. Hands can stay on the knee. They can be at the floor. They might go to the sky. Might go to the sky. Breathing. Whew. One more breath. And take the hands down. And we step back. Downward facing dog. So attachment and aversion, therein lies the question. Is there joy knowing we get to do that again, or is there not joy? Let there be joy. Let it be what it is. So we're going to look up, and we're going to step the right foot up. Help it along. Helping it along. Reach back through your left heel. Walk the hands to the knee. Walk the hands to the knee. Now invite your left glute to show up, part of the extension family. With the glute engaged, maybe take the heel back further, the left heel, but keep the strong lift of the lower abdomen, strong lift of the abdomen. And maybe, hands floats up again with lightness, with ease. So keeping the hands where they are, breathing, lifting, pausing. And we'll take the hands back down. And let's step back to downward facing dog again. We'll take the knees down. Take the knees wide, and we'll take a little rest in wide knee child's pose. Let the hips go back towards the heels, forehead on the mat, or maybe on your forearms or on a block. Let it be a restful pose. There's no strain. Just ease. And from ease, we begin to come back up into tabletop. So a little bit more effort, not too much. Now, let's take the leg through both of the hamstring, through both of its events. So now knee bend, so we'll pull the knee up towards the chest. And then we're going to kick the leg back. Take the leg up, extension of the hip, bend of the knee. Pulsing the foot towards the sky, pulsing up. I know, glutes helping out too. It's a beautiful thing. Pushing, pushing, pushing. One more push. Now hold it here and then slowly straighten the leg, straighten the leg. Powerful. And release down. Cat and cow. Rounding as you exhale. Arch on the in-breath. Go back and forth. And from neutral, gaze down, drawing the left knee in, and then keep the bend in the knee, but take the leg up behind. Take care that you're not lifting your left hip, just the knee, just the knee. And we pulse again, pulsing up, pulsing up. Move at a pace that's interesting. Not too much, not too little. Let's hold it up. Hold, hold, hold. And straighten the leg. Straighten the leg. Powerful. And release down. Cat and cow again. I'll take this one for a little bit for the test ride. Add a little bit of balance pose to it. So this is a revisit from this week. We're going to take the right knee in again, bend it deeply, and then take the knee up. Keep that big bend in the knee. So really squeeze the back of your right thigh. Take your left hand, form under your ribs. Move the ribs away from your hand as you squeeze, 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 squeeze the heel in, squeeze the heel in. Let's take the left arm straight forward, squeeze the heel in. And we'll release down. One more time. Appreciation. Hamstrings. Draw the left knee in. Keep the bend behind the knee as we take it up, lifting up. As you draw the knee up, don't lift the hip. So keep the hip down, but the heel pressing in. Take the right forearm under the ribs, hold the ribs up, hold the ribs up. Squeeze the heel in. Squeeze the heel in. I promise this awkwardness is all going to become clear. And we'll take the right arm forward, and we'll release down. Cat and cow. Tuck the toes under, and we draw back up again to this kind of short dog. Little dog, drawing up. And then walk the feet towards the hands, hands towards the feet. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to the shins. Lengthen. Soften the knees. Utkatasana. One more time. And we come all the way up. Release the arms down. So we're back in Tadasana. Natarashana, King Dancer pose. Is the pre-pose is stork, which is more the one we're going to be doing today. So here, you might like a wall, a chair for balance. If you know your balance is a little chatty, I invite you to embrace that. So we'll start getting the weight into the left foot. And then we'll draw the right knee up. It's a little easier to catch hold of the ankle if we take the leg into flexion first. Catch, and then I'm going to draw back. Draw back. If your left hand is on guard for balance, keep it where it is. Otherwise, just let it be at the hip. Draw the tailbone down. Draw the tailbone down. And maybe add a little bit of hip extension. We'll take the left arm to the sky if it's available. If it's available. We'll take the left hand back. Now squeeze the back of the leg, squeeze the back of the right leg and take the right arm to the hip, right hand to the hip as well. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Squeeze, I know. And release. Shake that out. So, should we do the other side or just skip the other side? Okay, I see. All in favor, repeating on the other side. Now your right hand, balance on the hip. Take the left knee up, catch the ankle, and we take it back. You can use the strap here, of course. If you use a strap, I strongly recommend you use a wall or chair for balance. Here, maybe draw the knee back a little bit for the extension part. Maybe the right arm goes to the sky. Breathing. Pausing. Right hand back. Squeeze the back of the knee, squeeze the back of the left leg. Hold the foot, hold the foot, hold the foot. Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And release. Shake it out. Tadasana. Take the arms up. Utkatasana. Forward fold, but take the hands to the shins. Inhaling the last half forward fold. That sense of the heels grounding, but sliding back. Plant the hands, walk the feet back. Take the knees down and come onto your back. Have a block nearby. So as you are on your back, we started with bridge pose. We're going to visit with it again. This time you're going to take your block and place it between your thighs, and you can either go wide or skinny. It is whatever feels good for you. Now, walk the feet in pretty tight. Get a good anchor on the mat. So you can really squeeze, you want to squeeze into the block and feel you have it very firm. So that done, let's roll the shoulders under. Not in a harsh way, but feel the shoulder blades drawing together and just let the palms face up. So there's a sense of the shoulders, the back of the shoulders is drawn towards the earth, not popping up away from the earth. Now turn the palms down, turn the palms down, but keep the elbow, the elbows facing up and keep your shoulders drawing down. Squeeze the block and we're going to lift and lower. Lift again, and lowering down, and one more time, lifting up. So more of an inclined plank maybe than a bridge. Now squeeze the block, and then ground the left foot, but take the right leg out, reach. Hold, lift. Bend the knee. Place the foot down. Add another little lift up. We take the left leg up. Lifting. Squeeze the right hip up. Hamstrings on, I know. And we lower down. Lifting up again, a little higher, and come all the way down. Take the block out. Just place it on your belly. And give yourself a pause here. Let everything soften and cool. And that got us ready for the pretty carny, active pose. So with your block again, or stack of books, pillows might be too soft, but towels would be all right too. So we want firm. Take your block in either low or medium height, or maybe 2 blocks stacked for a little bit higher. For foam blocks, I recommend you stack 2 rather than try to take it on the high level. Now slowly take the right leg out, sliding it out. Don't straighten the leg all the way. Don't straighten the leg all the way. Keep a little bit of a bend. And then dig the heel down, and then isometrically pull the heel towards you. Pull the heel towards you. That gets a little bit more release and a little bit more extension. Keep drawing the tailbone towards the heel. Letting the hip flexors relax and release. We're going to slide the right heel in. And slide the left heel out. Again, don't straighten the knee all the way. Almost, but not all the way. Press the heel down, drag it towards it, fires up the hamstring, so that facilitates the release of the hip flexors and the quadriceps as you draw the tailbone towards the heel. So there's all these synergistic relationships between our body parts. Work with one to let the other one relax a little bit. Then slowly draw the heel in. And just check that your block or your support is comfortably under the sacrum. It's not in the low back. The sacrum, the 5 fused vertebrae in the pelvis. Then draw one knee in, the other. And let's take the legs to the sky, the pretty carny. Reaching up through the inner heels. But let the inner groins soften. Soften downward towards the tailbone to maintain the arch in the low back, the anterior tilt of the pelvis, the forward tilt of the pelvis. Pausing, breathing, being. One more breath. Let's bend the knees. Place one foot down at a time. Once the feet are down, take a breath in, press the feet down, Contract the glutes. And relax. Contract the glutes again. Move with your breath. About 5, 6 times. And then after you've done those, just gently lift off. Again, you can place the block on the belly. Relaxing the arms. We're going to straighten the legs out. Take the arms up overhead, interlace the fingers. We're going to consolidate the legs first for this full body stretch. So drawing out through heels, drawing out through palms. Let's switch the clasp of the fingers. Repeat on the other side. And now, Shavasana. And as you begin to settle into Shavasana, support what needs supporting. Maybe the back of the head, maybe the back of the legs. Now using the block or blanket across your lower abdomen, this is a gentle reminder of deepening the breath. Feeling the breath not just into your belly, but into your pelvis, into your legs and feet and toes. And if you would like, bring your fingers back into Prithvi, Earth Mudra. That which grounds us, holds us, supports, and nurtures us. If you're holding the mudra, just let it relax so that there is no effort anywhere in your body. Let yourself be completely supported by the earth you're resting on. by the breath you're drawing in, by your relationships, to yourself and everybody else. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Maybe wiggling fingers and toes. Bend up your knees and rock your knees gently from side to side. We'll roll all the way over onto the right or left side. And just pause here. And we'll push up into a comfortable seated posture. Bringing our palms together. Honoring all that nurtures. Namaste.